Good morning, good afternoon, good evening around the world. My name is Doug Brunke. I'm the acting executive director for Global Chamber Chicago. I'm also the CEO of Global Chamber overall. I love the Global Chamber and I love it because of the people. The Global Tribe are more and more important for the world because not only are we creating prosperity for ourselves and our companies, but we're connecting the world at a time when the world wants to tear us apart. And that's not any good. We want to continue to build business. We want to continue to build the relationship between Canada and the US and all the other places in the world. We're going to have some great speakers today. And so I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to turn over, however, the facilitation of this call to our amazing advisory board chair for Global Chamber Chicago. The Demitrus Evans is the president and founder of the Evans International Law Firms. She's an attorney that handles trade and business, and she not only is capable and competent and expert, but she cares. And for some of the really amazing attorneys that we have within Global Chamber, there's the expertise and the ability to be amazing, and then there's that passion and caring and service that takes some of them to the next level, and Demitrus is one of those. Thank you for all that you do, Demitrus, and looking forward to the conversation today because I know Zach has some things to talk about, and Gunjan is here to talk about India, and there's a variety of other topics that we're going to be covering. I turn it over to you, Demitrus.
I know. Thank you. Thank you so much. I have a little bit of accolades, but I'm going to get my slides up here and then we can do that. I am cognizant that we have some people that haven't joined us before, so very excited to have you here. Welcome to the Chicago Global Chamber Advisory Board Meetup. This is our Midwest Meetup. And just thinking about Doug, I looked at your background. I'm like, oh my God, you've lived in 7 states, 3 countries, US, Japan, Singapore, 60 countries you've visited. You have a daughter, son-in-law. You have a chemical engineering background. I know you know all this, but this is for everybody else. You guys go and listen to Doug. His background on creating the Global Chamber, just fascinating. A wife of 36 years, like amazing. We have an amazing director of GC. This is me. I couldn't steal your picture, Doug. So I got to figure out how to do that so I can get your picture up there. But I'm licensed in the Midwest area. I have an LLM in International Business and Trade, a concentration in finance. I file lawsuits all the time, unfortunately, but I try to negotiate if we can. But the Evans International Law Firms, established in 2009, I put together to make sure that there was a clear focus on contracts, intellectual property, and international compliance for small, medium-sized businesses. So that's what I've been doing for the last 16 years, along with chairing for GC, which I love. This is my 2nd year as chair. I also am a professor and at the Joseph Business School. I teach business law. I'm also a member of the Illinois District Export Council, World Chicago Sister Cities. I'm on the Jordan Committee. And I just became an ecological commissioner, which is having me to think so much about sustainability. And I chaired for one of the major legal associations in the Chicagoland area. I'm also a mom, a wife, a marathoner, and I love my dog. But the GC, this has been a phenomenal ride. We're a business networking organization. There's trade support through our global outreach. Am I still correct, Doug, with 525 metro areas worldwide, or have we increased?
It has increased, but we're not ready to make a formal announcement to it,
Okay.
but we will over the next couple months.
Well, that's not a small number right there. So we are moving. We're looking to help you in strategic directions. Guiding our mission and vision is that we want to connect people all over the world. And Yes, so many wonderful ways to do that. So if you're not a member, if you know somebody who should be a member, please get them involved. We bring together seasoned professionals with extensive experience in international business. And yeah, we are excited that you are here. So I want to just lay the foundation, then we're going to switch over and really talk about some areas. In the Midwest, we are talking about an area that includes in the US, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, Nebraska, North Dakota, Ohio, South Dakota, and Wisconsin. Right? Great big area. With Chicago being the Windy City and the most populous, with 10 million people covering the areas that we are talking about in Chicagoland. So in North America, fourth largest, but we are facing some issues because we have so much farmland. We sell soybeans and corn mainly. We were doing a lot to China, so we know we have some issues going on there. We have the manufacturing auto industry, which is now under pressure because of the tariffs right now. So a lot of this is kind of gloom and doom. And I was like, oh, I need a slide on what's really going well. And I didn't get a chance to put that in there, but I will talk about that a little bit. Construction is the material costs have gone up on steel and aluminum, and that's a problem for some construction companies here. But the foreign trade zones are able to mitigate some of these tariff impacts, and so companies are utilizing foreign trade zones, which allow them to defer these taxes. So I know that this is happening all over the world because I've been in enough of global chambers meetings to know that these foreign trade zones are all over the world. So as you are busy doing your global trade, just make sure you're looking for these areas. In the Midwest, the great place for that is the Rockford, Illinois. Okay, so our trade with India. So we have some tariff pressures. India has some tariff pressures. We have some routes for tariffs that need to be readjusted to trade with India, but we are ready to do that. I heard someone say on the India call this morning that India could quite possibly just take over everything that China was doing as far as working with the US and trade. And that I think that that would be awesome. That would be amazing. So India is known for its diverse trade landscape with key exports, including petroleum products, gems, jewelry, pharmaceuticals, and the textile industry. But like I said, India is facing some tariff issues right now. And as far as I can tell, actively negotiating deals with various nations, including the United States. So that's why we wanted to make sure we could hear from some experts in this area. I do have some things that we could talk about as far as key imports and ports and routes, but Gunjan, if you would like to jump in here right now, I know this is your expertise, so you can do that.
Well, thank you so much, Demitrus, and thanks for helping me get started with the excellent background that you covered. So for those of you who may not be familiar with India or have knowledge about India from years ago, in the last 10 years, the Indian economy has grown dramatically. India wasn't even among the top 10 industrial countries in 2010. And if you look at the growth of India, it has surpassed UK, France, Canada, Russia, and is now one of the top 5 economies in the world by GDP. Now, for us in the US, it's important also to realize that India has become a top 10 trading partner to the US. By trading partner, we mean adding up the exports and the imports together. So obviously, China and Canada and Mexico and are larger, but India has been rapidly rising. When I first started my company 22 years ago, Singapore and Belgium had more trade with the US than India did. And so it's been a meteoric rise. But something very important happened last Thursday. Apple Computer announced that it will start importing virtually all of its iPhones from manufacturing facilities in India and cut back on China dramatically. Last year, Apple already imported $22 billion of iPhones from India. They're going to double that number to at least 44 billion in 2026. And that's a dramatic change for a company such as Apple, which has been so vested in its Taiwanese vendors who are producing the products for them in Shenzhen and other parts of China. And this has sent shockwaves throughout the American supply chain, where everybody who was thinking about supply chain resilience is now saying, hey, if Apple can do it, should we be looking at it? And I'll be happy to take questions from anyone on the call relating to that. Um, Now, Demitrus highlighted some areas where there's vibrant trade between the two countries. And if you look at the trade numbers published or reported, they include some things that can be quite confusing. So in jewelry and gems, for example, there's a lot of trade going back and forth between the two countries where the same item, may travel from India back to the US and then back again. So the numbers can be, deceptively large. The same thing is true interestingly in aircraft. You'll see if you look at the trade numbers that India exports a lot of aircraft parts to the US. But it's actually quite deceptive because much of what you see in those numbers is engines that were made in the US that are being sent back to the US for refurbishing or maintenance. So it's not really a true export from India, but that's how those numbers, how those statistics are calculated when you look at the numbers either from the US side or from the India side. So I want to drill down a little bit further in the opportunities that exist today with sourcing. Okay, and India is also a big market. I'm going to talk about that towards the end if we have time. Now, how much time do I have, Demitrus?
Let how much time do you need?
Oh, I can take a
You can
couple of
go for
days if you want
okay.
me to. So you tell me, I'll limit it to, is it 10 minutes is sufficient, you think?
Why don't we go for at least 15 minutes? I have 12:14. That's going to take us somewhere around 12:30.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I would
And I'll be
suggest maybe at 10 minutes and then make sure that we have 5 minutes for Q&A, if that works.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. And I'm happy to be interrupted with questions. This is a conversation, not a speech. So if you have something pressing or you don't understand something I'm saying or you want to disagree with it, just unmute yourself and jump right in. Okay. So if we look at
Could we
sourcing from India.
just pause for a second, because at the bottom of the hour, by then, Zach needs to jump off. Could we have Zach just update us on that that series of webinars that you're putting together, Zach? Do you mind, Gunjan, if Zach just mentions
Not at
about
all,
what he
not
has?
at all, of course.
Okay. Zach, are you there?
Yeah, sorry about that, Gunjan. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's fine.
I have to say two things, Gunjan. One, I had an office
I
that
saw that.
overlooked that temple from the other side. I was in Nehru Place for 3 years, about in the year 2000. So I used to see that temple looking out of my window for years.
Amazing.
And then the other thing I wanted to say is, I remember selling to Reliance Chinese-made cell phones. Like, again, 20 years ago, nobody would have ever believed that India was going to be able to manufacture an iPhone back then. So it's amazing that this is going on. It's fantastic. Anyway, that was just an aside. So I just wanted to say the Commerce Department has asked me to do its Trade Month in America for the Commerce Department. They've asked me to do 3 master classes. The first one is tomorrow. One of them is on finding distributors. One of them is on onboarding and training distributors. And the third one is on maintaining and running distributors and getting the most out of them. They're each going to be just under an hour. They're each taking place at 12 o'clock Central Time. I will post a link to them. Please register. They're free. As far as I know, they're not even checking where you're from. So, people from all over the world can sign up. Whereas when I do a webinar for different states, usually they don't want to let people in who aren't from that state. So please join. It's going to be very interesting. The stuff that I cover, I can guarantee you're never going to hear it anyplace else from anybody else. I go into actual practical stuff, not like a lot of the stuff that gets talked about when people talk about international business. So anyway, thanks a lot, Doug. I appreciate it. I will pop a link in the chat.
It's today, isn't it? The first one, or tomorrow?
I really hope not. I think it's tomorrow.
Okay. Okay. Tomorrow is the first. So May 1st is the first one?
Yeah. So it's the 1st, the 6th, and the 28th.
Okay. That sounds great. Thanks, Zach.
Zach, if it was today.
If you don't know Zach, Zach knows everybody around the world. He's like the premier international distribution leader. He's got a Rolodex of over 10,000 organizations that he can tap into to help companies get to different countries around the world. So he's been working for decades and has built those relationships. And above and beyond that, he's got the skill to be able to manage them. It's not a small feat to do that. He's extraordinary. And he's on our advisory board in Global Chamber Chicago. Thanks, Zach, for all that you do.
Thank you.
Back to Gunjan. Sorry, Gunjan.
Just want
No problem at all.
I just want to make a point of reference that Zach has put the sign up link in the chat. So if you're interested, please sign up.
Yeah, I'd like to get connected with Mr. Zach. Hello.
Oh, I'll jump in. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Ram Prasad here from Chennai, India. I'd like to personally get connected with Mr. Zach because
I'll put my LinkedIn profile in as well, and anybody can reach out to me if they'd like. I'd love to be connected with anybody. I do a lot of business. Like I said, I lived in India for 3 years. I have sold. I've sold all over the world. So yeah, I'd love to talk to you. I'm going to put my LinkedIn profile and my email in the chat.
Wonderful, Zach. So looking forward to getting connected with you very soon.
Thank you. And please put your information in the chat area because what's showing up is Ramanjali Academy of Dance.
Yeah. I don't know why it is that way, but then I will get it connected.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Zach. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Sorry, Demitrus, and go ahead, Gunjan.
Sure. So I think when you do business with India, it's important to understand the cultural differences between the two countries. And one important difference is that in the US, our work lives are governed by our calendars, and we don't like interruptions. And that's why Doug was apologizing to me. India lives on interruptions, Doug, as you know. So we are completely comfortable. If you're comfortable dealing with interruptions, you will do very well in business with India. I was once attending a speech by one of the top Indian executives visiting Washington. And in the middle of that, his cell phone rang and he picked it up and talked for 3 minutes while he was on stage. It might be very unusual to most people in the US, but we are totally comfortable with interruptions in dealing with India. So I just wanted to make that point. Okay, so returning to our conversation, when you're thinking about sourcing from India, the list is very broad. We talked about electronics, with Apple Computer being the example, but pretty much any electronics item you can think of, could be assembled and manufactured in India. And I have personally visited a number of contract manufacturers all over the country that are doing absolute world-class work, including Zach making some of those cell phones for Reliance. It's an American company with an operation in India that is manufacturing those cell phones for Reliance now for prices as low as $20 or $25 smartphones. Okay. Beyond electronics, anything to do with metal fabrication. And I know the Chicago area is big on manufacturing. So whether it's sheet metal or castings or metal forgings for the automotive industry or any other industry, Indian manufacturing has become very sophisticated in those areas. In fact, the world's largest metal forging facility is located in the city of Pune. It's a company called Bharat Forge that provides crankshafts for virtually every automaker in India, and quite a bit of business around the Detroit area for them as well. So uh, the the auto parts business, I think, is already very successful coming out of India. These tariffs on China are ranging very high. We don't know where
I'm not
they will
sure,
settle down.
Gunjan,
Yeah.
Gunjan, I'm not sure if it's um my stability with the internet, but the last part of what you were said, I didn't get. So do you mind just repeating it?
Oh, okay, sure. So I was talking about the manufacturing capabilities in India relating to metal forming and castings and forgings and sheet metal. They are quite sophisticated. And specifically, I was talking about the example of the automobile industry and auto parts. The largest metal forging facility in the world is owned by Bharat Forge, a company based in Pune in India, and they have substantial business with Detroit at this time. There are dozens of other companies in India that can supply the automotive or other metal forming opportunities in the US. Now, the companies in India range in terms of quality and sophistication. So you do need somebody with feet on the ground to be able to visit these facilities and evaluate which of them are ready to do business with the US. So I think that's an important component when if any of you or any of your clients wants to look at leveraging Indian manufacturing for their operations. Now, why is India manufacturing more interesting today than it was in November last year? Uh, the proposed so-called reciprocal duties, which we all know are not really reciprocal, but the duties proposed by the Trump administration on India are sitting at 26% today. The duties on Vietnam are about 45%. And of course, everyone knows the duties on China are much, much higher. I'm pretty sure they will come down during this next few weeks or months. But still, the idea is that they'll be substantially higher than the duties on product coming from India. Now, last week, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent made a statement that I think you should pay attention to. He said India might be the first country to sign a bilateral investment agreement, investment and trade agreement with the United States. A team from India was in Washington, D.C. for 3 days last week, negotiating over 19 separate initiatives relating to bilateral trade and relating to duties that India imposes on American products and the US is now imposing on Indian products. So I'm sure that there will be items that will not be charged the 26% duty when all of this is settled. Okay. And the time to start looking at India is now rather than waiting until the duty is settled down. Because it's quite clear that there will be a significant duty differential between China and India from the US perspective. Okay. Relating to selling to India, again, India is likely to lower duties on American products as part of this agreement. I think the Treasury Secretary and the US Trade Representative and the Department of Commerce will all insist on India lowering duties from where they are today on many, many items. So trade with India is bound to increase. The two countries have targeted $500 billion a year of bilateral trade by 2030, which is much, much higher than it is today. I think it's in the region of somewhere between 100 and 200 billion, depending on how you count it. Okay, so there's a huge opportunity. It's not an easy win in either direction because both countries have complex systems to work with. India is very diverse. Some people call India a continent rather than a country. It has 29 official languages. And my home state, the state of Uttar Pradesh in northern India, has more people living in it than all of Brazil. So it's a very vast country with lots of people, many competing interests, but really modernizing rapidly. So the airports have gotten much better, the roads have gotten much better, transportation is smoothened. Uh, the governments are now functioning much more electronically, so you can submit documents electronically rather than on paper. In fact, I had the experience just a couple of months ago where I needed a certificate from the IRS, the US Internal Revenue Service, called a tax residency service, certificate to share with one of the Indian partners we were working with. Well, the IRS requires that I send a letter and they take 60 to 90 days to respond after I pay the fees. And then the reply comes by mail. Okay. At the same time, I had to do some tax filings in India relating to the same transaction. Everything was online. The work was done in about a day. Now, I didn't need to talk to my Indian employee to really fully understand that website. It's all electronic, but not terribly easy to understand the first time around. But my work in India was done, in a few hours compared to 60 to 90 days dealing with the IRS. And this is, before all the IRS cutbacks. So I think the time will increase going forward. Okay, so if you think of India back from 20, 25 years ago, this is a different country we are dealing with today. Okay. The progress there, I think, is going at a very rapid rate. I think Boeing has moved its headquarters from Chicago, but I know that for a while, Boeing was headquartered in your city. And just yesterday, I posted how Indian Airlines have committed to buy $67 billion of American aircraft already. And in the next few weeks, you will see new orders coming from Air India and also from Indigo, which is India's largest domestic airline. Okay, so there's a lot of American product being sold into India. Boeing is the most successful American company in India, but there are hundreds of others that are doing extremely well selling their products into India. So let me take a little break here, Demitrus, and see if you want me to answer any of the
I would like
questions.
to add something to this, what you just said, Mr. Bagla. I think a lot of textile companies from Pakistan also will get a chance to start exporting to US, who were facing a competition with China. So I think it's an opportunity, for all like textile manufacturers to start their exports to US, and which they had stopped initially because of China.
Yeah.
So I believe like a lot of opportunities on the renewable energy side as well. Like I spoke to someone in Canada who have the counterparts in India, and they have a solar cell manufacturing system in like Pune somewhere, and they want to take it all over the world. So like renewable energy is one sector where everyone is focusing. Even our law firm, Spencer West, has just partnered with the UK government, and they're giving grants to companies like coming into renewable energy. So this is an area which is supposed to be focused. Like a lot of companies who are who are willing to do this renewable energy, who have the capability to do this, but they lack due to funds and all. We can look for a likewise partner from US or anywhere, for them to set up in US, and they can have a strategic partnership with the company in India or Pakistan or anywhere else in Asia. So I think
Absolutely, Rabia. All of South Asia, I think, is very strong in the textile industry, thanks to 200 years of British colonization, where
absolutely.
a lot of textile trade happened at that time. So Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, even Nepal, you will start to see exports rising again from those countries with textiles, cotton, apparel, anything that has to do with the use of cotton and other textile materials. We are currently working with a company that makes technical textiles. So these will go on the humanoid robots are going to grow very rapidly in the next 5 years. And you will see announcements coming from many, many companies. So our client makes the textiles that you apply to the fingers of the robots so they can get a sense of touch, not just, so they have tactile capability. And our client has many, many patents around that area. So they're developing the product in the US, but all the manufacturing is at scale will happen in India, probably in the western state of Gujarat, which is so successful with textiles. Now, you mentioned renewable energy, and that's an interesting one that you bring up because the Modi government has expanded solar energy production uh, dramatically. Okay, so India is now building the world's largest solar farm. But as far as the US is concerned, I have a property here in Long Beach, not far from where I live, and we are building some additional construction on it, which requires solar panels. Well, it turns out that the maker of the solar panels is a company owned by an Indian entity. And the batteries, if you want to have batteries to power to provide power at night, the company that owns the battery company is also owned by an Indian entity. Okay,
Yeah,
this is all
it's a whole
pre-existed.
industry. Like, when you talk about automobiles, it's a
Sure.
whole industry. You're talking about electric cars, then the electric batteries, and the other, like vendors attached to it. It's a whole
Sure.
industry. You talk about one thing, you have 10 other things attached to it. So if one industry grows, 20 other industries along with this side by side, they grow with it. That's
Absolutely.
it.
Absolutely.
We,
Now, I think Zach posted something about not imagining India negotiating with the US. I'm not sure. I can't imagine that anybody in the administration is ready to negotiate with the Indians, was Zach's comment before he left. Well, there are active negotiations going on right now. First of all, in February, Prime Minister Modi flew to Washington at President Trump's invitation, and the discussions were centered around tariffs and trade. He famously called Modi the tariff king of the world, and there's active discussions going on. The number of the people in his cabinet, Trump's cabinet, have visited India. Tulsi Gabbard, the director of national intelligence, was in India recently. J.D. Vance spent 4 days in India last week. And he gave if you look at my LinkedIn, you will see an excerpt from his speech that he gave in Jaipur on Thursday last week. Really excited about the idea of improved bilateral trade between the two countries. So on my LinkedIn, and I'm the only Gunjan Bagla on the planet, so you can find me easily on LinkedIn. You'll see my posts in the last couple of weeks talking about these interactions between the US and India that are at their highest and most intense level than I have seen in the last 22 years of running my company. So a lot has changed about the US-India relationship. And frankly, it's not just driven by trade considerations. It is driven by American concerns about the military rise of China. India has a long border with China in Kashmir, in Uttarakhand, and also in the far eastern states of Arunachal Pradesh. India has China invaded India in 1962. Most Americans don't know that or have forgotten it, but the Indians have not. And so when American defense planners look at who is going to come to support the US in case there is a military confrontation between the US and China, India comes really to the top of it because India has one of the longest borders with China, other than Russia. And India is a strong democracy. India has bought billions of dollars of defense equipment from the US in the last 20 years. Boeing, Lockheed, General Dynamics, company here in California, General Atomics, is providing the world's most sophisticated armed drones to India. About $2 billion sale that was signed just about 18 months ago. Okay, so the considerations towards India are driven by factors that aren't going to go away anytime soon. Tariffs or no tariffs. Okay, you're really seeing a restructuring of the global world order, and U.S.-India trade stands to benefit dramatically from that. So for all of us who are in business, I think this is something that, if you look at the future, India is going to be far more important to the U.S. Than it was before. Here in Los Angeles, and Doug knows this, we are getting a new consulate, an Indian consulate opening up here. And there's tremendous excitement about that because we already have a consulate in San Francisco. California will be the first state to have 2 Indian consulates.
Amazing. I'm going to step in, Demitrus, if you don't mind. Rama Prasad spoke earlier today at our Global Chamber India event. And Rama, thank you. It's late there in India. Do you have any additional comments that you would like to make? Because you spoke to Gunjan earlier today. Anything else that you'd like to add?
Definitely, yes. I should really thank Gunjan for projecting such a positive view about India and the opportunities that exist in India and the capabilities of Indians. It's very nice of him. And as an Indian, most of us, the Indians are definitely looking forward to work with global partners, and we are looking really forward to grow together with the world, with the world. So. I can't agree more with Mr. Gunjan. Thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to working with a lot of you. Where partnership with India could be mutually beneficial for all of us. So thank you, thank you, Gunjan, and I will definitely be in touch with you. And thank you, everybody. Thank you, Doug, personally for giving me the opportunity to speak once again. Thank you so much.
Rama Prasad gave a really outstanding presentation earlier today. So if you missed it, I recommend you find that event and register and get the recording of it. And if you can't find it, please let us know. Demitrus, Gunjan Bagla is the only Gunjan Bagla in the world, not just because of his name, but because of his expertise and his background and the way he analyzes the situation. And I think to his point, the fact that Apple made this decision, the question of whether India is in good stead with the US and the US Americans would negotiate with India, that was decided earlier, and India or Apple already recognized that, and they made a huge decision for their company and the future of their company based on analyzing the situation. And so they answered that question by making that investment decision. So Gunjan, thank you for your information. I know we only have about 20 minutes left. Is there anything else that you would like to say in conclusion?
Well, I'm happy to answer any questions because this is a topic I could speak for hours on, but I want to be respectful of whatever else you want to do in this session.
Great. Yeah, we do need to cover some other things.
I have a question for Doug. Doug, I have a question that how can global chambers add value to the businesses from Asia coming to US? What strategy can be used by global chambers to attract the businesses all over Asia, India, Pakistan, Indonesia, Malaysia, any other country coming to set up their business in US? How can we sort of make a strategy of working with global chambers on such like businesses or such ventures?
Well, thank you for your comments. We're already doing it every day. So it's more of a responsive reaction. We're helping and we're directing people to leaders like Gunjan. So let's take that question offline, but that's already happening. The question, I think, is more, how do we make this more strategic? How do we make it more proactive?
That's what
we're happy to do that. One person in the audience here is Nadira Nazri, who is part of MITA, the Malaysian Investment Development Authority. And not to put you on the spot, Nadira, but do you mind saying a little bit about Malaysia and just checking in on what your views of back into Malaysia investment might be right now, and anything else between US Malaysia? Are you available to say hi? And I see Haikal as well.
Hello, hi. I'm so sorry. Can you just repeat that again?
Any comments that you'd like to make about Malaysia that we should know about? Any opportunities to be made aware of?
Well, I think just to share that last week, our minister, he just went to DC to do this negotiation with the government. So we definitely want to keep US as our main trading partner, main global partner. So definitely we will work together. We are here in Chicago to facilitate any interest or any needs that you might need from our side. So, and yeah, we want to continue the collaborations, the negotiations, and we hope that, you know, everything will goes well.
The tariffs for Malaysian goods are fairly high into the US right now. Do you have anticipation that that will be changing?
We hope so. That is why our minister went to, you know, to meet with the some of the government last week, the USTR and also the DOC. So we do have some negotiations. I think the government will have some announcement in coming week. So we are also still waiting for our meeting minister to announce, and our prime minister will be making some announcement somewhere in maybe 5th May. So we are also, you know, waiting for that. Hopefully, you know, there's some changes, because definitely it will affect our businesses. As for now, from my speaking with companies already in Malaysia, they are still, you know, like pretty okay with what happening. It's just that if, let's say, the tariff maintain 24%, definitely it will be very difficult for them to, you know, to continue their operations in Malaysia. Yeah. And I think it's similar to other countries. The new ones will be still under this, you know, wait and see, still looking at, you know, the next announcement.
Thank you for making Chicago your home, and for all the good work that you're doing with MITA. And we also enjoy working with Trade, and Sadat and Global Chamber are working together. He's now, as you know, I think in Istanbul, but they've
He went
definitely
back.
in
Oh
Turkey.
he went to another posting.
So we're working with him there. Demitrus, did you have any questions or additional comments related to that? I know we need to get to David Harris here as well.
No, I think we can go on to Mr. Harris.
David Harris, how are you? And Alexandra Schaff is also here.
Hey, we are good. How are you guys? Good to see you again, Doug.
Hey,
We're doing well. Congratulations on Convera becoming a Global Chamber member. And you have a big event coming up, and we haven't spoken in a couple weeks on that. What's the latest and greatest on that? And we look forward to helping and supporting your success and launch in the US.
Yeah, super. Hey, thank you. And just good to meet the Chamber. And I didn't know what to expect here with the local Chicago team. So it's nice to see folks local and also global as part of the Chamber here. But as Doug said, Convera's in the foreign exchange and the money movement business. So we're a global foreign exchange and payments network, cloud platform. Some of you may know of us from our prior name, which was Western Union Business Services, and that goes back 25 years. The Convera part has been around about 3, and we took over all the commercial business of what used to be Western Union. But the fun part about being here in the Global Chamber is meeting all of you, just making some connections. We've got folks that manage business in 130 currencies in countries all over the world. So our focus right now in the Midwest is we've opened an office. We've got 6 employees local, and we're talking to and meeting with folks just like yourself, anyone involved in import, export, and with trade and tariffs and all the confusion the last 90 days. The conversation rate has gone way up. So Doug mentioned we've got an event coming up, and we are hosting on May 28th, and I'll put a link in the chat here in a few minutes. We're hosting a Convera Live panel discussion on trade and tariffs. So the link I'll post here in just a few minutes has an invite and a registration link that you can go to. And the bottom line is, with all the discussion and the manufacturing companies and the import-export companies we have in the Midwest and Chicago area, we're hosting a happy hour. There's food, drinks. We're going to have a really great panelist. We've got a couple other Global Chamber members who are joining. And if you go and check that out after I post it here, love to have you guys register and join us. And just good to be part of the Chamber and networking with all of you. So thank you.
Absolutely. And I'll just say one more thing. I've known Doug for some time. It's been nothing but an excellent experience here with the Chamber and just a wonderful opportunity to network. So we just see a lot of synergies in between both companies here. And if anyone's in Chicago or the area around, we'd love to see you at our event. So that's it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alex.
Yeah,
Appreciate your kind comments, Alex. And
of
David, you
course.
said it's May 28th and it's downtown somewhere, right?
It's at the Midland Hotel downtown in this financial district. And as I said, there's a generous food and drinks available. We'll have about an hour and a half panel discussion, and our global market insights leader will be joining that as well. So yeah, look forward to a great event. We've got room for about 100 folks. The seats are filling up. So look forward to having some of you guys join us.
Yeah, we'd love to have some people from the chamber come. So we hope to see you there.
I know one of the connections we've made is with Kevin Brown, who's on the call with BMO, and their tower, as everyone knows, I think there's 2 offices, right, Kevin? I don't know whether you can talk because it has a funny symbol next to your name, but the tower downtown, which is amazing and very close to where we did our last big event. And then you've got it, I think, out in Naperville, an office. Do you have a moment to say hi?
Sure. Thanks, Doug. And David, it's great to see you on the screen today. I know Doug connected us offline, and David, I have some things to follow up with regarding that event, so I'll be back in touch with you shortly. But yeah, Doug, for those of you that aren't familiar with BMO, we're an international bank. Our U.S. headquarters is right here in Chicago. Corporate headquarters is actually up in Toronto. But again, U.S. headquarters right here in Chicago. We're 320 South Canal Street. For those that are, in the city or familiar with Chicago, right adjacent to Union Station, so conveniently located. And then just real briefly, again, I know we may be running a little bit behind here, but I know many of you, for those that I don't, I'm a managing director and team lead for BMO Commercial Bank here in Chicago. So we're a full service bank. Specifically, my team and I really focus on delivering credit products, treasury solutions, international banking services, primarily to middle market privately held businesses here in Chicago, but also across the Midwest and other parts of the country. So we have brick and mortar locations in about 32 states. We're doing business in all 50 states. We made a large acquisition a couple of years ago, acquiring Bank of the West based out in California. So that's really expanded our footprint, say from the Rockies over to the Pacific Coast. So if myself or my team or the bank can ever be a resource to any of you, please don't hesitate to reach out. Demitrus, I know you, on your comments earlier, you talked a little bit about the auto industry and the impact that tariffs are having on that industry. Just for everyone that's on this call, and I think Doug and Demitrus and some of you are aware of this, but one of the things that BMO does is on a fairly regular basis offer thought leadership and WebExes and whatnot on various topics. But certainly, as David touched on, right, the last 90 days, tariffs have been what's been on a lot of people's minds. So next Monday, May 5th, we're going to be hosting another session. It's about a half-hour session that's going to be focused specifically on how tariffs are impacting the auto industry, both from a supplier standpoint and for all of us from a consumer, from a dealership standpoint, et cetera. So we're going to have, I think, one of our bank economists and some of our consumer industry experts kind of talking about that topic. So I'd be happy to share more details on that event for anyone who might be interested in attending.
Hi,
Amazing.
Kevin. This is Rabia. I would love to sort of collaborate with you for some like M&A transactions. I'm looking for an investment bank in Chicago for some projects in US. So I can talk to you offhand if you have time. I've sent my number to you on the chat. If you could revert back. Thank you.
Yeah, I look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Paula Macedo, she was here and left, and it might be a connection issue. There are a couple of Europeans I wanted to make sure everybody got to know and meet. Paula's one of them because I happened to read something about how successful Portugal has been for taking in particularly Americans, but generally people from other countries to live because of the cost of living and the food and just the way it is to live there. And Paula helps people with that, including with the real estate side. So if she comes back, or if you're interested in that, Paula, it's a great resource. Demitrus, another person that you know really well or know well because she's on the advisory board, is Renee Meyer, and she has a medical not medical tourism. She's got a med tech trade mission coming in to the U.S. that includes Chicago. Renee, how would you characterize that? Are you able to chat?
I am, Doug. Thank you. I actually just put all the details in the chat.
Beautiful.
I wasn't going to show my face because it's kind of tired, but I will. You put me on the spot, so okay. You don't know that I'm in my kitchen having my dinner, so that's all right. Yes, I am leading a mission of European medtech companies. So these are companies with medical devices and digital health. And I'm bringing scale-ups, companies that have made a recent funding round. So they're ready to come to the US market. And in Europe, people mainly know San Francisco and Boston, and they don't know anything else about the rest of the US. I'm an Ohio native, and I think that the Midwest really needs to be tooted, needs to be marketed. So I will be landing with my group in Chicago. This will be at the end of October. We're going to spend about a day and a half in Chicago. I'm working with the French American Chamber of Commerce, have some contacts there, but I'm always more than happy to meet other people that are there that could be interested in talking to these companies, sponsoring the mission, or help us out somehow. And then I will be going to Northeast Indiana because this is the orthopedic capital of the world, I've been told. And we'll spend a couple days there before going to Phoenix. So if anybody would like more information about it, I would love to talk to them. And I put my contact details on the chat. Thank you.
Renee's a graduate of Thunderbird School of Global Management, and she often does our global mindset initial meeting of the year, our Globinar in early January, talking about global mindset. She's an expert on that, the cross-cultural side, and then she has an expertise in medical technology, medical device, medical companies, life science companies, particularly between French-speaking Europe and the Midwest US. Thank you, Renee, for your leadership. She talked about dinner, by the way, because she's in Strasbourg, France. That was the connection there.
Exactly.
Demitrus, maybe just a quick introduction of Michael Stone. EM Wasilek is a longtime member of Global Chamber. They're an exporting expert. They help companies in Wisconsin and in Illinois and anywhere in the U.S. to export outside the U.S. It's an interesting time. Michael, or do you have a moment just to say hi?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Doug. Yes, so to Doug's point, while our firm kind of started as an international business development consulting firm, supporting mostly Midwest manufacturers around the world, we're very heavily involved in both the outbound work, so helping U.S. exporters identify and research and plan and execute, market entry and market expansion initiatives around the world. And we're also supporting non-U.S. companies in entering and expanding their North American market presence. So it's been a very, dynamic time for us. But many of our clients are very much struggling and in wait and see mode. But yeah, that's what we do. Our core services are in market research, market entry strategy, and then actually executing, market entry, sales development, building out distributor networks, and actually executing sales and marketing initiatives for clients. So we're both inbound and outbound. We're a small firm, but we've been around for 25 years. I'm based here in Chicago, but we're very, very virtual, always traveling. So happy to connect further.
Welcome to the advisory board. And I will say that Global Chamber's headquartered inside Thunderbird School of Global Management. We're on the one corner of the first floor. And then when I go up to the third floor, almost right above us is the EM Wasilek conference room, which was due to the donation of Ken Wasilek, who was a Thunderbird graduate. So we see your name often, both at Global Chamber and at Thunderbird. Thank you. Demitrus, we're only got a couple minutes to wrap up, and I know there were a whole bunch of things we wanted to talk about. You wanted to talk about upcoming events. I guess we're going to have to do that offline. What do you think?
That went so fast, but just let me just show you this. I was traveling through the Midwest this past week, and I was traveling through Ohio, and I saw that Intel is now in Ohio, and there is like all of these towns have changed. And so I think that now the Midwest is getting ready for, quantum computing and all the chips. So if your companies are involved in that, I think it's a great time to get involved in Chicago. There's a $9 million project for quantum computing. We think it's going to be, over 20 billion for further investment. So definitely a hub if you want to get in on that. From the legal point of view, I think we need to pay attention to AI. Just want this on everybody's radar that the U.S. does not have a comprehensive law on it, but they are, trying to pull things together, kind of like the GDPR. So, there's a lot of diversity issues that come up with facial recognition, but as we go into this brave new world, continue with AI, there are issues that are going to come up. And yeah, I did have a slide. Let me just go here on these upcoming events. Some of them we already heard, and they're already in the chat. So make sure you get signed up. Zach talked about the commercial department and the distributorships. Those are 3 free webinars. Get signed up for that. The happy hour panel event, Global Insights that was discussed, and then BMO May 5th. So a lot coming up, and then a lot to come from the Global Chamber. Thank you for everyone who has participated. It's been a good meeting.
Gunjan, you are amazing. Thank you for hanging in there for the entire meeting and for sharing some really outstanding information. Everyone should have Gunjan Bagla, the one and only Gunjan Bagla, in your Rolodex. Absolutely. We have a couple people like Lothar Solomon is a long-time original member of Global Chamber on our advisory board. He is the center of Central Illinois. So Lothar, thank you for your leadership as well and being part of the advisory board. Thank you also to International SOS. I see Steve is in the call. They also were an original member of Global Chamber. And so look forward to understanding what you're doing in the Midwest. I don't think familiar with you in particular, but we know International SOS very well. So welcome to Global Chamber Chicago and the Midwest. Let's connect separately. Does anybody have any final comment or thought that they'd like to share before we close the room? Did we forget anybody? Demitrus, you get the last word. What would you like to say?
Awesome. I see Sophia that didn't get to say anything. Sophia, would you like to just tell us what you do?
Sophia, sorry I missed you.
No, don't worry. I'm very pleased to be here today, and thank you so very much for your continued efforts and support for Global Chamber members. My name is Sophia Legidi. For those who don't know me, I'm the founder and president of Amerock Export, located in Chicago, exporting heavy equipment and industrial tires. Currently, we're more focusing in the Moroccan market. I'm originally from Morocco. In this uncertain time, and keep an eye open for other opportunities, either import and export. This event was very excellent. Thank you.
We're working to try to get some fees removed that were really inappropriately charged.
Thank you very much.
They've investigated it, but they haven't really committed to any refund yet. So
nothing yet. 5 months now.
We'll keep trying. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Demitrus, any last word?
No, that's gonna do it. Thank you all for being a part of the Chicago Advisory Board Committee. Advisory Board for today, and I have appreciated you being here. All that you've shared. Have a wonderful rest of your day wherever you are. Be global. Be unstoppable.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gunjan.